Right, so here we are for the second part of the review, which is the actual gameplay part of it. Start off with the King Tiger, the German version. So the first two replays are that one, and the second two are the captured one. And just a quick summary for those of you that haven't watched the garage part of this review, and just a very quick summary of the sort of differences. The armour-wise, they're both exactly the same as a standard, fully upgraded Tiger 2. The main difference is the guns, and in the case of the captured one, engine power and a couple of other bits with the traversers. So basically the King Tiger, the German one, is essentially the same as a fully upgraded Tech Tree Tiger 2. The main difference being that it has, I think, slightly less on the hull traverse by a couple of degrees, I think it is, and the gun, whereas the Tiger 2, the Tech Tree one, uses the 105mm L68, this uses the 105mm L50. Now, it's had its pen buffed though to the same penetration values as the L68, as the Top Gun, but that leaves its aim time slightly worse than the Top Gun, and its accuracy worse than the Top Gun. However, its accuracy is slightly better than the L50 on the Tech Tree one, and that's basically it for this one. The difference with the captured one is that it uses the long 88, but it's had its accuracy buffed to 0.31 or 0.32, I think it is, as opposed to 0.34, which I think it is on the Tech Tree one, and it's also had its penetration buffed from 203 to 212. But it also has a smaller engine, 700 horsepower instead of 870, which gives it a worse power to weight ratio of 10 horsepower per tonne as opposed to 12.36 of the Tech Tree and 12.38 of this one. It has better hull traverse but a lot worse turret traverse, and there was something else as well. Yeah, that's basically it, I think. So that's for the captured one. So in my opinion, personally, I think this is the better of the two. I don't see the point in either of them, unless you really love the the Tiger 2 and you want a premium version to earn credits with. I do really love the Tiger 2, and I would like a premium version to earn credits with. And if I get one of these, my wife has offered to buy me. Well, she offered to buy me them for Christmas, but I think, to be honest, I just want the King Tiger. I'm not personally bothered about the captured one. Now, somebody mentioned earlier, saw them in a game, and they actually circled me when I was in the captured one and took me down. And I said about I think the captured one's the worst one, and they said that they prefer it, and it sort of plays more of a sniper. And that was sorry if I get your name wrong. There was lots of letters at the beginning. LKZ something Havoc 2, and they prefer the captured one and use it more of a sniper. And I'd not thought of it in that way, to be honest, before, but with the the accuracy being really good, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. And it's also slower, so you can't get around as much. So you want to take up a position a bit further back and use it as more of a sniper. But my main problem with the captured one was that even in in your higher tier matches, that's going to struggle more than this one would, and more than a Tech Tree one would, because it does simply have the lower pen. Even though it does have a much better rate of fire, this has 5.66 rounds a minute, Tech Tree one has 5.77, and the captured one with that long 88 has 8.96. So it does have a decent rate of fire, but sometimes I just find the pen a bit lacking on that one, and like I say, I just find it feels a bit sluggish compared to the Tech Tree one and to this one as well. But back to this round, these two matches actually, you may notice a quality difference, and that's because I had to record them using the PlayStation hard drive. I was having an issue with one of my cables yesterday. These didn't go on to make out till late, but I was having an issue with one of the cables that connects my capture card up to everything, and ended up having to record it using the PlayStation hard drive so I could get the footage. But then last night, later on, I did find a spare cable, so it's sorted, so the captured ones are actually using the capture card again. But with this one, it is very, very good matchmaking. I'm top tier, and there's not many tier 8s in here particularly, so this is sort of a almost like a best case scenario. But this is my very first game in it, but I didn't I knew that I wouldn't need time to get used to this or anything, because I do like the Tiger 2, like I said in the garage, but it's one of my favourite tanks in the game, so, you know, I think it's pretty safe to say I pretty much know what I'm doing with the Tiger 2. So I just looked at the stats of this and thought, yeah, you know, Tech Tree Tiger 2, that's it, jump in it, have a couple of decent games and done. And that's essentially what happened. The captured one did take a little bit more getting used to, simply because it's got that different gun. Now my voice is back. Yeah, it's got the different gun with, like I said, the slightly lower pen, the lower damage, but the higher rate of fire, and it is a bit more sluggish. So didn't take a lot of getting used to, just had to adjust my playstyle slightly, which took me a couple of games to sort of pay attention to. I was sort of in denial about it. No, use it like an old Tiger. But no, you do have to adjust ever so slightly for the captured one. But again, I still don't see the point in the two of them. It does seem a bit like a bit of a money grab, and I think that they should have just done one. Personally, I think it should have been this one as a captured one and a dual crew trainer, and left it at that. That's what I think personally. As it stands, as much as I like this tank, other than, like I said before, for just earning credits, I really kind of don't see the point in it. It is very much a reskin, especially with the, even though they put the shorter gun on it with the buffs to it to make it essentially the same as the Tech Tree one. You know, it is just a reskin at the end of the day. As much as I like it, and again, as much as I like this tank, and you know, I would like this because I do like the Tiger 2, and if I can play in it and just earn loads of credits, I'm more than happy with that. I do think that 14,000 for this is very expensive, and I think it should have been cheaper personally. That guy did help me out. I was getting in a bit of trouble against the IS-3 there. He was going for my commander's hatch, and the Ferdy came down and helped me out. Well, that's basically the match. And yeah, it was a bit of a ruffle stomp. I just really went for it. When I get matchmaking as good as that in the Tiger 2, I just generally don't hold back and just go for it. And a lot of the enemy team sort of came down this way and got held off, and then we came around and finished them off by flanking them as well. But a very nice match, even if I do say so myself in that one. But again, you know, brilliant matchmaking, but a very nice first round. 160,000 credits. I think I did get a bit extra for one of the ops. 4,400 damage and 3,000 block is quite nice. But then again, like I say, I knew what to expect. And if you like the Tiger 2, you're going to like the King Tiger. It's the price that's the issue with me again. And the fact that, like I say, it is just a Tech Tree Tiger with a skin on it. At the end of the day, you know, no matter the slight differences, they're not enough to warrant it. And like I said before, as much as I like it, as much as I want one of these, the price is hard to justify. And even the tank existing in a way is kind of hard to justify. I know it sounds contradictory because I'm saying how much I like it, but you know, it's just one of those things. It's a premium. It's a bit like with the Huntsman and stuff. You know, as much as I like the Centurion with the Huntsman, it's kind of like, why does that tank even exist? It's a Tech Tree Centurion with a smaller engine. You know, that's it. And it's, again, the only thing you can think of is, you know, well, if you really like the Centurion but you wish you could earn more money in it, then there you go. You know, it's one of those things. But it's, you know, I'm just trying to give you my opinions and the sort of facts and things on it, and compare it to the Tech Tree one. And it's up to you, you know, whether you want to, you know, it's your money at the end of the day. It's not my money, you know, you don't have to listen to me at all, but, you know, here we are. These, like I say, these are my opinions. And admittedly, I think I might get this one. I don't know what I'd do with my Tech Tree Tiger. I'd kind of, it's weird, I kind of want this one, but I've got the Tech Tree Tiger 2, and it's sort of, I really am in two minds with it. But then again, I suppose if I got this, I'd probably get rid of the Tech Tree one and just keep this one and work on this one. I've nearly got 2 marks on my Tech Tree one, actually. I think about 80%, 80 point something percent. But anyway, this is a tier 9 match, and just took a close hit from Artie there. Took a bit of health off, and most of the team have pushed down this same side, this sort of western side, through the factories and the lower ground, which means that we're going to have to push really hard to get round on the enemy team, which have sort of mostly pushed up the other side of the map, up the eastern side in the open sort of field area where there's those hills and knolls. There's a word you don't hear very often, isn't it? Knoll. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to have to push really hard to get round here and try and pincer the enemy team. And went a bit derpy there. There's a KV-4 over on the right. There he is. And every time I just get in a position to shoot, he manages to pull back a bit more. And he kind of holds me up a little bit. Not so much from shooting at me, but I just feel aware that he's there and I want to get across to the left. And I just feel like I'm going to take shots in the side or the rear when I do from him. So I'll try and do a bit of damage to him. And of course it goes into the floor. That's that sort of worse accuracy. You're going to have to expect that. With the Tech Tree Tiger 2, there's more of a chance that I would have hit him there. Whereas with this one, like I say, it just went off. But I think, if I remember, what's the accuracy on the L68? I think it's 0.32 possibly. 0.31, 0.32, something like that. And it's 0.34 on this. So, you know, it does have that slightly reduced accuracy. And just I'm saying that, I clip the smallest amount of that tank that I'm aiming at and hit it. Yeah, it happens. But even though, like I say, even though that was sort of suggested about using the captured one as more of a sniper, I still prefer this one, and I'm still not particularly bothered about the captured one, and that is simply because it's got that weaker gun. I know it's got the increased rate of fire, but I'd rather have the higher pen, and I'd rather have the higher pen, to be honest. You know, simple as that. Even if the damage was the same, I'd still rather have the higher pen, just because it's more reliable. You know, for actually getting through the armour. So me personally, if I do get any of these, either of these two, it would be this one, the German King Tiger, and I don't think I'd bother with the captured one. But like I say, this one should have been the captured one, and it should have been a dual crew trainer, and there should have only been one of them, not two. And I really can't see. I don't know. I kind of can't see the point in having both of them in a way. I know I said in the garage, obviously, well, you know, you could then train up American crews in a Tiger, which is a kind of completely different heavy tank play style for the Americans. You know, the American heavy tanks, sort of from the T-29 onwards, are, you know, weaker hulled, strong turret. You know, so it's sort of got a certain play style to it, and that's different with the Tiger 2. So it does give you something different to play as with the Americans, and we capped out for the win there. In fact, I was just as surprised. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't paying attention to the top of the screen, just the tanks that are around me, and did get a bit surprised by that one when it capped out. But yeah, with the captured one, like I say, if you're wanting something different for the Americans, you know, it's there. Or if you're not bothered about the German tanks in general, but then again, if you're not bothered about German tanks in general and you're just going down the Americans, why would you want to capture Tiger 2? Which is a German tank, so I don't know. I think in a way I don't really get why they've released two of them and then made one worse. You know, it's sort of, I suppose you could call German bias on it, but this is the captured one, and this is a tier 8 match, I think it is, as well. And I've just tried to use sort of average matches. I only had a couple of 3 in the sort of King Tiger, which is why I use those 2. And with the captured one, again, I've just tried to use sort of average matches. But me personally, I've had much better matches in the King Tiger than I have in the captured one. And I found that in the captured one, it's not been the accuracy that's let me down; it's been the penetration. Although having said that, I've just gone straight through, I think, the front of that Type 59. But there is the potential, I suppose, to earn more money with the captured one, simply because your rounds are cheaper. And, I mean, you're losing 80 damage per shot. So this does 240, the King Tiger does 320 average. So you are losing 80 damage per shot, but you carry more rounds, and your rounds are a lot cheaper. So I suppose potentially you've probably got more potential to earn more money in this one, slightly more money, should I say, than in the King Tiger, because you're simply paying out less for your ammunition costs. And you know, armor profile's the same, like I said before. The thing with this one is it's got that smaller engine, which does make it feel more sluggish. On the uptake, I mean, it does get up to speed. It's got the same speed limits as the other Tiger, and it does have ever so slightly increased terrain resistances, but not increased enough to compensate for that, you know, loss of 170 horsepower. And it's the same with the hull traverse. That kind of only just makes up for the loss in engine power, but you've also got a reduction in turret traverse as well, which, if you try and play this in exactly the same way as you would a sort of Tiger 2, or well, this is what I've found, you know, I'm quite aggressive in my Tiger 2 and play quite forward in the higher tier matches. I do play it more cautiously and kind of try and keep it medium range, unless it's tier 10, where I'll try and keep it medium to long range or flank, try and get around on the flanks. But I've found with this that if I do try and play it exactly like my Tiger 2, I fail in it. And that's because the turret traverse has let me down before, the engine power has let me down. Because I've got so used to the tech tree Tiger 2, and this is probably just my, you know, my failing rather than anything else. I'm not saying this is a bad tank. It's like I say, there are people that prefer this to the tech tree Tiger 2 because they prefer the rate of fire. They like the armour of the Tiger 2, but they wish it had a better rate of fire, and now you've got it. But me personally, because I've got so used to that, I do play it quite aggressively, and when I've been sort of trying to brawl in this, the engine power with the traverse, and definitely the turret traverse, have let me down a bit, and have caused me to take more damage or to actually get killed before. So that is something to take into account, and I would say play a bit more, maybe a bit more medium range, medium to sort of close range. But the accuracy on the gun, you know, I can't fault it. And I've just missed then, but no, the accuracy is good on this gun. And like I say, the rate of fire, but personally I'd rather go with the slow rate of fire with the higher pen and slightly higher damage. But that's just my, you know, my personal preference. Yours might be different. But it's not going particularly well in this round. I've got a few shots in, trying to hit the Commander's Cupola on that T-28, but I just got in a bad position, and then I think the 112 was firing heat, which is, yeah, I kind of can't blame him in a way. In the 112 it has got a shit gun. The armour wise it's quite nice frontally, and I think it had a buff to its side armour as well recently as well, didn't it? But yeah, the gun is pretty crap, but not a too bad a round. 2,267 damage with the Confederate as well, and a decent amount of blocked. But I have had consistently, me personally, I've had consistently better games in the King Tiger than this one, but that's probably just because I'm more used to it. And the gun is essentially the same as it is on the Tiger 2. Whereas with this one, like I say, you do have to play it a bit differently. And I've used this one. Again, it was one of the better rounds I had. It is, again, sort of best case scenario with the matchmaking. Really, really good matchmaking. So don't take that too much into account. And, you know, I don't mean to make this one out to sound bad, because I don't think it's bad. I just think it's the worst of the two, personally. And I don't see why it had to have the smaller engine. Fair enough, give it that gun, the different gun, when I can drive it properly. Yeah, fair enough, give it the different gun. Again, I don't see the point. I mean, I suppose if they'd have brought out two exactly the same, then people would have complained about that, and probably me as well. I probably said, well, we've got two they're exactly the same. One's German, one's American. But they are more or less exactly the same. But I just think that dropping the engine power on this one, I don't get it. I just don't get it. The fact that they've made it slower, made the turret traverse slower, yeah, it just doesn't. I don't know. I just don't get it. If you wanted to make them different, then yeah, just leave them with a different gun. But like I said before, my opinion on it is that this one shouldn't have existed, and the other one should have been the captured one. and being a dual crew trainer. And I know I've said that a few times and it feels like I'm flogging a dead horse, but that's really how it should have been, I think. And just like I say, justifying, I find it very difficult to justify buying the pair of them. I think that, you know, if you are going to get one, or you know, you really do want one, get one or the other. I don't know, buying the pair of them just seems a bit redundant in a way. And yeah, no, nope, not going to be able to get him. He's pulling back. Now again, I've got myself in a bit of an awkward situation here. I'll try and do a bit of damage as we go in. The rate of fire has caught people out on this one a bit, because obviously they see it, and even though it says captured, immediately they sort of think they've got that Tiger 2 in the back of the mind, and they've got that sort of rate of fire logged in, and the rate of fire on this one has caught people out. Just clipped his tracks, led him a bit too much, and he turned there. But yeah, it's caught people out. They sort of waited, thinking, oh, I'll get another shot off before they've reloaded, and they haven't. You know, and I've reloaded either at the same time as them or sort of before them. But something I do like with the Tiger is the armour. The armour is nice on the Tiger 2. It's just, personally, I think the Tiger 2, not so much this one, but again, because the smaller engine feels a bit sluggish. But I think the Tiger 2 is a good mix of armour, mobility and firepower for a heavy tank. And yeah, got myself in a bit of a stupid position here. Get a shot into him. Got stuck on something, took some damage from the left as well, and the front again. And lost a lot of my health in that exchange. Very, very poor exchange, that one. Did play it a bit like a muppet at that point, actually. And again, I was sort of in that mindset of, you know, take Tree Tiger 2 and King Tiger, and again, that's sort of my failing, not so much the tank. And in that, I probably would have taken, you know, that KV-85 would have been taken out sooner, because I would have done more damage to him. So that's something you are going to have to account for if you do go for this one. But like I say, I do like the Tiger 2 tanks, and I don't know, it's one of those, in a way I'd kind of like both of them, but I really can't see the point. And if this one, I don't know, if this one, it'd have been, yeah, I don't know. See, with the short 88, with the long 88, sorry, in a way I'd kind of rather this one had the long 88 as it does, left at 203mm, and given preferential matchmaking or something. You know, just left this one as it is, left the gun at 203 pen, like I say, and given it preferential, so it only saw up to tier 9, and left the King Tiger at seeing up to tier 10. I think I probably would have preferred that. Because then at least they're different, and you know, you've got something slightly different there, or a different reason for getting them. But there you go. That's the capture one. Still a decent amount of money earned. You don't have to do you don't seem to have to do a lot of damage in it to earn a decent amount of money in the capture one. That is one thing. But there you are. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that review. I've done it in 2 parts because it would have been a very long review, otherwise a very long video. But I'll be back tomorrow with another video. So until then, take care. Then I'll catch you next time. See you later.